advance, so that people will be communicating with each other to avoid any duplication. And we've had a great group of people who worked through a number of those questions to avoid those kinds of problems.
Kim, Amy and I would like to say one thing. Yeah. We just want the members to know they're going to get one bill. One single bill's due.
That's right. And that our financial staffs have been working on for a while, so that, because it goes out right away. So that is coming up, and it'll be one bill. For the record, that was Amy Aquino, A-Q-U-I-N-O, Co-Secretary Treasurer, SAG AFTRA, and Matt Kimbrough, K-I-M-B-R-O-U-G-H, Co-Secretary Treasurer, SAG AFTRA. Any other questions? Yes, let's rock it for the Secretary Treasurers. Leslie? Ryan Nakashima?
When's the next contract negotiation that the combined union will face, and how might this...
First major contract negotiation is the commercial negotiations, which have an early start this October. That is a national agreement, and we will be hard at work on preparation for that after the big weekend off. Because unions invented the weekend. One thing, that is the first national contract, but of course we have local and station contracts that are ongoing, so we're hitting the ground running.
Handle it any differently this time?
Will we handle it any differently this time? Well, for one thing, we'll have one committee instead of two, we'll have one chair instead of two, we'll have one set of negotiators instead of two, and we'll have one contract instead of two.
And following up on that, Jonathan Handel, Hollywood Reporter again, following up on that, one of the objections that folks who, this relatively small number of folks who opposed the merger made was that they were concerned that the negotiating strategy of the new union might not be as firm with management as they thought that it ought to be. And I'm curious, and this is going to be a difficult commercials negotiation because of a possible restructuring of the kind of formulas, so-called gross rating points, and the growth of non-union commercials work. What sort of, and the industry is going to be looking for signals. What is this new union? What sort of signal, and how are you going to send it?
Well, I would hate to start talking about our negotiating strategy at the opening press conference. I understand that there are people who are concerned about our negotiating approach, as there have always been people who disagree on how we negotiate. But we are going to be speaking with one voice, and of course, as always, we are going to try to bring in all members who work this contract to have this conversation, not just part of them. And we also have my letters. Yeah, last question. Is there a last question? Okay, the last question. Yes, one more from KPCC.
Okay, so the vast majority of actors actually don't get to work that often. So for the work-a-day or barely work-a-day actor, what can they expect?
The work-a-day, you're a work-a-day actor?
There's two different questions. One was about actors who don't work a whole lot, and the other was about work-a-day actors, people who work a lot. So I don't understand your question.
Okay. So a lot of SAG members don't really, make the big bucks and have a job 40 hours a week or just barely get to work every year. So how does the change affect the reality for those people?
Well, let me put it this way. Working actors who are out there, leaving out the very tiny, small percentage of superstars who make extraordinary amounts of money, are really dependent on the revenue that comes in, the kinds of salaries they get when they do get salaries, and our belief is that we'll be able to be much stronger at the bargaining table as one union in dealing with in commercials and also in TV theatrical. And down the line, what that means is you are funding everyone more. You know, it's all relative. In terms of it, not to be too flippant, it reminds me of the old joke where the guy's going into surgery and he says to the doctor after the surgery, "Will I be able to play the violin?" And the guy said, "Absolutely, hands be fine." He said, "Good, because I could never play it before." You know, so we can only improve so many things, but I think we can improve the levels of salary and possible protections, you know, in the way we're doing. And all boats rise is really the idea. Thanks.
And just to follow up a little bit, we've been in a situation until today where we're spending money on this duplication. We're just wasting dues dollars. All that money can now be put into organizing and creating more work. There's massive amounts of work out there, and not all of it is union. And so that we can go after, and that we can really focus on now as one union.
Okay, thank you all very much for coming. See our press staff on the way out. We have a SAG AFTRA press kit, and in that, you'll find a tip sheet that will let you know who everyone up here is with photo tip sheet. So thank you all very much. Great day.